here's Tony La Russa on that intentional walk to Trea Turner.
Turner was a strike left against a left-hander is not something you can avoid if you can. And we had an open base, and Muncy happened to be the guy behind him, and that's a better matchup. Here again, somebody disagrees. That's the beauty of this game. Welcome to it. But that wasn't a tough call.
It felt really good. I'm going to leave it at that. You know, the situation kind of unfolded how it unfolded, but you know, it felt really good to get that result right there.
All right, there's a lot to unpack, but let's show you the numbers that Tony more than likely was referring to, what he had in mind. Okay, here we are. Trea Turner against left-handed pitching on a 1-2 count, very good numbers. And Max Muncy, very poor numbers against left-handed pitching. But it's a very, very small sample size. Let's go even bigger picture here and show you some more numbers. Again, the same two players, Turner on a 1-2 count, lifetime, 254 against lefties on a 1-2 count. But Max Muncy more than holds his own lefty-on-lefty matchup. But the numbers I want you to focus on at the bottom of your screen. In 2022, Cam Maybin, all major league hitters, I'm including Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, Trea Turner, Max Muncy, all major league hitters this season on a 1-2 count, they are striking out almost 43% of the time. Not recording it out, but punching out.
Yeah, and that's what strikes me to be a little weird about this situation. You know, you can justify moves from, small sample size, but if you look at the career numbers and you dive a little deeper, Max Muncy actually has a higher OPS against lefties in his career than he does against righties. Mm-hmm. So you can dive into this however you want to. You look at Freddie's, reaction on second base. He was clearly confused.
Yeah.
We didn't get the White Sox reaction, the guys on defense, the guys in the field. I'm sure they were confused and surprised by this move. I think this is one of those situations.
Yeah, here's Freddie's reaction.
Yeah,
He's going
Freddie
with 2 strikes?
With 2 strikes, you talk about 42%. You start to weigh in, the umpire's, human element. He might call a strike that's just borderline, a borderline strike.
Chase. Yeah.
Hey, if you don't want to pitch to him, there's a such thing as intentionally throwing competitive balls. These guys are professional pitchers. They can throw balls around the zone and possibly get a swing and a miss, possibly get an out. So this was a situation that definitely struck me as not the call to make. And then and just going back a little bit, you go back to the series against the Yankees. Rizzo was facing Joe Kelly. They had a lefty up ready to go before Rizzo came up. Tony allowed Joe to face Rizzo. He walks. Then they bring in the lefty to face Stanton. Stanton gets a hit. So we've seen a few of these, these blunders by Tony this year that, are a little bit uncharacteristic of, his Hall of Fame managerial career. So, a lot of things not going their way right now, and you're seeing that, unfold.
As a professional athlete, put us in the mindset of Max Muncy. He's on deck, and not only the batter in front of you gets intentionally walked, but he gets intentionally walked with a 1-2 count. What are you thinking as a competitor, as a professional athlete?
Yeah, as a hitter, I'm I feel extremely disrespected, and you saw as Max Muncy, came around those bases.
He had some words for that dugout.
There was some bleeps coming around. He had some words for not only their dugout. I think that was specifically for Tony La Russa. And we know Max Muncy can be one of the more charismatic, guys after the game. But I do appreciate his.
Take the ball out of those.
You know what I mean? But I actually do appreciate the respect that he clearly has for Tony La Russa.
Yeah.
But he clearly did not like the way that, transpired, and he really felt disrespected, which he should have. This guy, he's been hurt. He's coming off of elbow surgery. Clearly hadn't been feeling as good as he, wants to. That can affect his swing. But you saw in this game, early in the game, he looked like the old Max Muncy, hitting balls into the left center field gap, which is always a good sign. So he definitely took that personal.
Yeah, that's the good news for Max Muncy. He looked good. They gave him extra time to get right. And I remember last postseason, he was injured and he was top step, guys, every single pitch in the postseason. It was killing him not to be out there. So that's the good takeaway. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say he's an important part of that lineup.
100%.
And the Dodgers, they are on the road. They continue their road trip. They're going to be in San Francisco to take on the Giants, while the White Sox continue their homestand tonight against the Texas
You
Rangers.
talked big picture, though, Cam. White Sox, interesting decision. The defense has struggled at times. If you look on paper, you think, wow, star power. It hasn't translated. Why?
It hasn't clicked. And Lauren, when you go, a little deeper, when you go into the clubhouse, I always say there's no stat for chemistry. There's no stat for character. These are things that, you can pull up any sheet of paper you want, and there's no number for these things. So right now, what I'm seeing, it looks like a disconnect. There's a lack of energy that I see when these guys are playing. When they get up, it's good, but when they fall behind, you can see heads kind of hang. You can see guys kind of go into this kind of sulking, body language mode, and that's what you didn't see the past few years. They had this energy, they had this confidence that it didn't matter what inning it was, how many outs, what the case was. We're going to win this game, and right now you're just not seeing that fire, that passion. So I think the White Sox are going to have to look a little deeper at the bigger picture and see where they're going and how they're going to get somebody to turn this around from a leadership standpoint.
Yeah. There's no stat for chemistry. That's a T-shirt.
There's no stat.
That's
you
right.
need to get right on
I
that,
need to get that
sir.
on my merch line.
You got
Absolutely.
merch?